All right, well, we are in the last unit for the Using an Image to Write a Song EdWeb, and you should all pat yourselves on the back because you've written, recorded, uploaded, and shared a song based on an image that you chose, and that's very good. Now, I want you to do reflections and to listen to others' songs and review them. First of all, we want to talk about constructive feedback, and that is important because songwriting is such a personal thing for many people who do write songs, and everybody's in it for a different reason. Some people write songs because they have specific goals, like they want to get a demo to send to record labels, or some people just want to start selling their music. Other people write songs just because they enjoy doing it. And so we have to keep all of that in mind when we listen to other people's music and when we review them. So, what is constructive feedback? Well, when we give constructive feedback, we are specific. For example, if you didn't like the lyrics of somebody's song, what about those lyrics didn't you like? You need to find a specific area of those lyrics to talk about. Maybe there are specific words that you just didn't feel were emphasized naturally, or if there's something you don't like, you need to understand what it is that you don't like and why, because the songwriter who you're reviewing is not going to get very much helpful information if all they have to go on is the fact that you don't like their lyrics. So when we give constructive feedback, we give feedback that the other person can actually take with them and perfect their song down the road. We're also direct. You can actually hurt people's feelings a lot more if you're not direct, because you'll find yourself saying things that you don't really mean. Really, if we're going to give each other honest feedback, it's just important to say what you mean and mean what you say. There's no need to sugarcoat things. As long as you're being respectful in the way that you're writing your reviews, that's what's really important. You should avoid you need to or you should types of statements. They just seem to create negativity, especially in written form. The reality of it is that we don't need to or should do anything with our songs because they're our songs. You need to remember that when you're reviewing someone else's song, that's their song and not your song. So you don't need to tell them what you would do with their song because it's their song. So instead of saying, well, if it were me, I would use this word instead of that word, you would say that differently and say, well, I didn't really like these specific words that you used in your lyrics, but have you thought about maybe using the word blah, 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 or some of the ideas that I came up with were blah, 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 blah. If you would like to use those, feel free. Maybe you've come up with some other words already that you've considered. Because the thing that's important to remember is if you have a problem with a specific section in someone's song, there's probably a good chance that they also have that same issue. So it helps to give suggestions, but it does not help to tell them what you would do. Finally, it's great to have a balance between positive and negative feedback. Positive and negative feedback are both equally important, but you want to follow these guidelines to make sure that you're respectful in the way that you deliver them to other people. And the best way to do that is to show some type of appreciation within your review. Finally, I want you to think about the idea of whether the golden rule applies in giving reviews. I would challenge that it does not apply because, like I mentioned earlier, we're all in this for different reasons, and some of us have thicker skins than others. Some of us are deeply, deeply sensitive about the music that we write, and perhaps some of the students in this educational website really struggled to upload and share their song in the first place. So if you go along the rule of, well, I'll just say whatever I want to say about other people's songs as long as it's still within the lines of what I would find acceptable about other people saying about my song, the problem with that is that you're more thick-skinned than other people you might end up hurting a lot of feelings in that process. And then at the same time, if you're extremely sensitive and you only review people in the way that you would be okay with having yourself be reviewed, you may not be giving very effective feedback. So, those are things to think about. Finally, I just want to talk about the reflective questions that I have at the very end. I want you to break out your songwriting journal and answer all of those questions, and then, of course, also share any interesting thoughts you came up with during your self reflections. And a lot of the questions in this last unit talk about the entire reflective process and the creative process that you went through during the entire course. So please make sure that you share any of that information that you would like to with me because it will help me to improve this educational website. Please get to me@johnpaulsharp.com. All right. Thank you so much for participating in this, and I hope that you got a lot out of it.